Do you miss going now?
I do. I really miss the place. And honestly, we've been there. In fact, Don and I were there. Oh God, I think the last time we were there was probably a couple months ago. And it seemed for some reason that the activity has died down a bit, or quite a bit, actually. The last time we were there, we were in the adolescent ward, and in fact, the first time Don and I were there, uh, we went there by ourselves, went up the upstairs part of the adolescent building, and we experienced walking in. We heard the giggling sound of what sounded to us like a little girl giggling, laughing, uh, inside the building, and that really freaked us out. So, uh, and since then we've caught a lot of EVPs there, but for some reason lately, uh, the activity has seemed to die down a bit.
Did you ever have any trouble with attachments or anything coming from home from Camarillo?
No, not me personally. There's other people that have gone with us that have always cautioned us to be careful, that there's always a possibility of attachments there. I personally have never felt that I've had anything attach itself to me. But you never know. There's a possibility that, especially in that place, because you're dealing with a lot of, they're not normal type of spirits that you would find in a private residence or anything like that. I mean, you're talking about what used to be a former state mental hospital where these people went through a lot. They went through a lot of abuse there. The history of Camarillo, as well as the history of asylums all over the world. They experience, the patients are experienced a lot of type of traumatic abuse and therapies there, so they're not very friendly. And there was I would say a couple units where we had experienced not so friendly spirits, especially in one particular unit, orderly that worked there, or perhaps a patient. But he did not like us there. In fact, there was several times that we caught an EVP of him threatening us, and saying things like, "Oh, they're back for more. I'm gonna hurt you," things like
Wow.
that. And several people that we took there had seen the silhouette of him being a very large individual, very large. So and I know John and Rebecca have said that they've actually heard him, as well as I have, walking up and down the corridor of unit number 44. In fact, there was a couple times where we were inside one of the rooms where we actually heard walking, thinking that perhaps it was security or a policeman, coming inside to investigate to see if there was anybody in there. And when we took a look down the corridor, there was nobody there, and that happened several times.
Huh. Um, so, tell me about your new group. Why did you form a new group and break away from your old group?
Oh God.
like I don't,
Well,
like I don't know, but I gotta ask that way
yeah.
anyway.
Well, my former founder and director of SCSPR, which was Luis Gonzalez, decided to stick with a team. Obviously, we all know who it is, BHPP. Um, and first of all, he wasn't liked very much in the paranormal community by a lot of people. You know, and as I told many people, for many years, I've known him for 10, 11 years. Him and I were like brothers. And it wasn't until I started, I always backed him up. People always talked about him, whatever. But I always backed him up. But it wasn't until, there was certain things that happened that, I didn't agree with, obviously, and I tried to talk him out of a lot of things that, as far as hurting people, talking about people, siding with this particular team, and I tried very hard to do that, and to let him know that, hey, we're losing a lot of respect as a team, something that I hold very, very highly. It took us a lot of years to gain respect in this field, and he's throwing it all away. And I talked to our other former team member, or I'm sorry, the other member who he's still attached to the team, uh, to get some advice, and said, hey man, I said, I know you're not really involved too much, he's got a lot of things going on. I said, but he's causing us to lose a lot of respect in the field, and we worked too hard for this to happen. So basically, I broke away from him after many attempts of mine to persuade him to walk away, as did other people, but he just decided to stick by them instead of someone like myself who've known him for a decade and did a lot for the team. I felt like I was the backbone of the team. I got us into our first conference. I created all the YouTube videos for us. I did a lot of the legwork as far as the investigations for the team. And he just basically decided to throw all that away. So like I said, I didn't agree with it. I wasn't about to go down with him, and with the decisions that he made. So I decided just to leave. Obviously, that video, that we put together, did it all and says it all. So, yes, I formed the team. I waited a while before I decided to do that. I was running solo for a while. Then decided to. I spoke to George Plancardi, who everybody knows. Brought him on, and as well as a good friend of mine, Chuck White. Don Gibbons recently brought him on as well, and another former friend of mine, or former colleague of mine that I used to work with before, Mike Beruecos, brought him on as well. So there's basically 5 of us now in our team. So since then, I have had no contact with Lewis, or I do still speak to Paul, who was a former, or who's still with the team, and him and I are still friends, very good friends.
We've lost several people that we used to have respect for due to let's say some people are more interested in a famous location than they are friendships and groups with integrity. Do you agree with that?
Yes, unfortunately, yes, I agree with that.
It's
it's very sad.
Yeah. Did you have any more other questions on that avenue, Don?
No, I mean, I know the story, and it's a lot of drama, and that's going to be saved for another show that we have coming. So, as far as your new group, what do you think is going to be different than when you were with SCSPR?
Well, just the type of leadership in the team. For one, I don't like to take credit for anything as far as saying that I started certain things, or I take credit for locations that were investigated before. I like to investigate and work and network with people on the team, and not only that, but really have respect for everybody in the team. That's very important to me. I don't like to talk behind anybody's back or anything like that. One of the biggest things is just, like I said, it's just doing what this is why we do this. We come out to investigate and help people in the field. It shouldn't be about the drama. Unfortunately, that happens. But I like to work with everybody in the team. And like I said, and respect everybody.
Frank, you gave us a general background on your experiences at Camarillo, but you'll be doing a much more extensive presentation on March 10th, Saturday, at the Rialto Film Festival, right?
Yeah, I've got some really good EVPs that I've captured over the years from Camarillo, as well as some pretty cool pictures. And this is it's the same presentation that we used over the Manteca event that Don and I did. Just tweaked it up a little bit. What I did was back then during the Manteca event, I was with my former team, and I was told not to use the EVP, certain EVPs, and certain videos, and in fact, the Peter James video was one of them that I was told not to use because obviously this person didn't want me to use it. But it's certain things like that. So I tweaked it up a little bit. I included a lot of that footage, a lot of those EVPs. A lot of the EVPs that I did have, a lot of really good EVPs from the early years were lost, sadly, because my computer had crashed several years ago, and I lost, oh my God, like so many classic, just like really good Class A EVPs that I caught from Camarillo. So what I really have to show is just basically just some of the EVPs that I caught over the last, I would say, 3 years from Camarillo.
Oh, great.
And what is your favorite piece of equipment that you like to use on your investigations?
My favorite piece of equipment is the digital recorder. Yeah, that was EVP for me is the best type of evidence, or the easiest type of evidence to capture. When I first started this, like 11 years ago, I was very excited about doing this. I bought my first video camera, and I said, wow, I'm going to capture some apparitions. I'm going to capture all kinds of things. But eventually I realized that I wasn't going to catch any ghosts walking in front of the camera or in front of my digital camera or anything like that. So my number one piece of equipment is always going to be my digital recorder. Jack, doing some ITC is always great as well. But the recorder, I have found over the years that is probably the best tool to use.
Okay. Do you have?
Well, we recently heard.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Don.
Well, recently somebody had mentioned that the Hack-a-Shack was not a good device to use. What do you think about that? Did he?
Oh darn! I think he froze.
I think he.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Oh, there he goes.
Well, as with everything that we do, yeah, I did. As with everything that we do, everything is subjective. Everything. So, yes, people are always going to question, the instruments, especially the Hack-a-Shack. Obviously that works off of different frequencies and radio waves. It really, it just depends on the person. A lot of times it seems to work for us. We, depending on the location we're in or the people we're with or what we're doing, we're able to actually hear things over the Hack-a-Shack that make sense to us. And it speaks on sometimes, or we hear things about what we're actually doing, the location we're in. It actually responds to our questions. Sometimes even we'll hear response to our questions. Or even the people, we'll hear the names of the people that are around us, which is really cool. So it really, I guess, it's always going to be subjective. We're never going to be able to prove that as evidence. But it's a tool that I like to use. And I know Joe from 3AM. He's really big on ITC. And I respect a lot of the work that he's done and the research that he's done into ITC research.
I think what Don was referring to is a certain other internet radio personality said that shack hacks are terrible things to use, and you have to buy an actual ghost box, P9 whatever. I think I asked someone before what difference is between a spirit box and a Hack-a-Shack, and they said about $100. So do you have have you had any different experiences with an actual store-bought so-called spirit box or a Hack-a-Shack? Is there any real difference other than the price?
Honestly, no. I've had the old model. In fact, the first one, the old. In fact, I can't remember the model number, but it's the old white Radio Shack model. I still have that. I have the other Radio Shack device, and then Don has the PB device that we use. And using all three, I really have found no difference other than the sound quality is better in the newer devices. That's really it. Yeah, there is a difference in price, but for me it all works the same.